Oh, it looks like we're here. It looks like we're here. I'll go ahead and let everybody log in here. I'll let people let some folks filter in. Welcome to Status Coup. The date is Monday, November 14th, 2022. And I am Ron Placone. Jordan Cheriton is not here. Tina Desiree Berg is not here. Smash that like button regardless. Don't just press it. Frickin' smash it. I mean, don't harm your machine. But tell that like button, hey, I'm liking this. Huh? It helps. So I'm Rob Placone. I'm here at Status Coup. Flying solo today. So special announcement, if you haven't seen this yet on social media, Jordan is he just got finished making a person. There it is. Look at that. Jordan, I mean, not by himself. Him and his wife made the person, but Jordan is a new dad, and that's where he is right now. So congratulations to Jordan. And let me pull up. I don't. It's Colin. It's Lily, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
That's
now you
great.
have me second guessing.
Yeah, we're both second guessing it now. Wow, we're But Jordan had a healthy baby daughter. So congratulations to him. Let me make sure. Now I feel.
Yeah, it is. It's
okay, it is Lily.
Lily.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't. I was like, what if it was like a different L name and then I say the wrong thing, and that would just be. I mean, come on. But it's a happy time. Congratulations to him. The family is doing well, and that is very, very exciting. So Jordan is going to be having some downtime. He is well, it's not really downtime. He's working on a book. That's hardly downtime, but he's going to be spending some time being a new dad and working on his book. So you'll be seeing more of myself. You'll be seeing more of Tina. You'll be seeing more of Kimberly and Steve and the rest of the Status Coup crew, which of course includes on the ground Status Lou. So you'll be seeing more of all of us. Tina is supposed to be here today, but she bailed. She's just like, no, I'm not. No, I'm just kidding. Tina is unfortunately under the weather, so she could not be here today. So it's just me. But I'm happy to see y'all. Please smash that like button. Please do leave a super chat so we can chat it up after. I will get to all of your super chats, and I can't wait to hear from you. And good to be here. Happy to see you all. Happy Monday, which is also a cool band. And unfortunately, guys, we don't have some great news to start. This is never the types of story that you like to do. It's always it's just always one of the most discouraging things to go through, and for a number of reasons, which of course we'll get into. But there was a shooting over the weekend at the University of Virginia. If Colin, if you can pull that up. Which, by the way, quick shout out to Colin. Colin is on the ones and twos here, but we have some very not so great news to start. This is a University of Virginia shooting. The suspect is in custody. 3 football players are dead. This is via NPR, the nice, polite Republicans over at NPR. So 3 people were killed and 2 were injured following a shooting at the University of Virginia late Sunday night. Campus police and university president Tim Ryan confirmed that was early this morning. Police said the suspect, Chris Darnell Jones, was still at large early Monday, may be armed. Multiple law enforcement agencies are working in coordination to find him. Launched a search on the grounds early Monday morning. Police are asking those on campus to continue to shelter in place. So, wow. So here's what happened. Let's go back to the article for a little bit there, Colin. The shooting occurred around 10:30 p.m. It was near a parking garage. Now, they were coming back from an event, and this person shot 5 people. 3 of them are dead, and the 3 people who are dead are all were all on the football team. So scroll down if we can a little bit, Colin, please. Let's see. All right. I thought we had the names of the students elsewhere, but I actually think I had a different article on hand here, Colin. Can you get the updated article here? There's they have the shooter in custody now. It's the headline is the UVA shooting suspect is in custody after 3 football players were killed. So they apprehended Chris Darnell Jones on Monday morning after a manhunt lasted more than 12 hours. So Jones, who was a student at the university as of Monday morning, as well as a former football player, faces 3 charges of second-degree murder. So, I mean, we're not exactly sure the motivation here yet, but it sounds like this person had some grievance with the football team. I mean, this person was a former football player and targeted 3 football players. Now, go back to the article, if we could, please. Police say the 3 victims, who were all juniors and members of UVA's football team, were found dead on the scene. They are Devin Chandler, a wide receiver from Virginia Beach, Laurel Davis, a wide receiver from Dorchester, South Carolina, and Deshaun Perry, a linebacker from Miami, Florida. Wow. I mean, it is so discouraging. You know, as somebody who has just done news and politics related content for a little while now, I'll be honest with you. I don't know how many shootings I've covered at this point. I've lost count. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. And I guarantee anyone else who does this type of content, they probably don't know either. I bet if you asked Jordan, how many shootings have you covered? He wouldn't know. It's just something. And time again, whether it's at a university or a high school or an elementary school or a workplace or wherever it is, you just see it happen. And you know that nothing is going to change. You know that nothing is going to be done because, you know, especially in the good old USA, there's only 2 choices. There's only 2 choices. And we can't even have the discussion of anything but. I mean, there's probably people, you know, thumbs downing this video right now because I'm going to dare to suggest we have a more common sense weapon policy than what we have now. Because there's only 2 choices. Either you just want to go drive some bus around and just confiscate every gun that you see, which is completely unrealistic, would never work, and would result in a civil war. Or we can't possibly do anything. We can't possibly do anything to change this. There's nothing we could possibly do because, you know, no other country has guns at all, which, by the way, isn't true. Tons of other countries, people have guns. But you know what else they have? They have reasonable protections to try to prevent guns from getting in the wrong hands. They have reasonable laws and policies. And there's plenty of things we could borrow from. Voluntary buybacks, protections on how much ammunition one can have, keeping weapons at ranges, classes being required. You have to register your gun like a car. References. There's so many things we could do that would be better policies that would keep guns from getting in the wrong hands. And I know for people that are, you know, gun owners and they're responsible and they're mindful, I know that for them, that's a pain in the butt. I get that. Yeah, you have to register it like a car. That's a big pain in the butt. But you know what else is a big pain in the butt? School shootings all the frickin' time. Isn't that a small price to pay for your kids to be able to be safe in school? To have a society with less of this stuff? And by the way, to all the, well, it's mental health. Okay, that's part of it too, absolutely. So how about we have universal health care? No, we can't have that. Oh, we can't. So it's mental health, but we can't have health care. It's not the guns, it's mental health, but we can't have health care. Maybe, so I guess we can't do anything. We can't have the healthcare system that the rest of the industrialized world has had for decades. And we can't possibly have a better weapons policy, even though tons of countries around the world already have it. They figured it out. I mean, it's like that Onion headline that every time there's another shooting, that Onion headline keeps getting recycled. There's nothing we can possibly do to prevent this, says only country where this happens. So There's not a word for it. I mean, the first word that comes to my mind is frustrating, but that doesn't even begin to frickin' touch what this is. I mean, this is mind-boggling beyond comprehension that we just passively accept this in the United States. We have more shootings than there are days. In other countries, when a shooting happens, they pretty much just shut down. Like it's everywhere, and everybody's just like, "Oh my god!" Which is, by the way, the human reaction to something like a shooting. That's what rational human beings would do. Here in the United States, we just shrug and keep going about our day. We just look at it and we're like, "Oh, that's a drag," and then 48 hours we forget about it. That's actually there's statistics to back that up. We stopped talking about a shooting in about 48 hours because we're just on to the next one. And when it happens in elementary schools, and it continues to happen in elementary schools, and nothing is done, nothing. There aren't many issues I have less confidence in anything changing, but that is one where I have no confidence that I will ever see a change in my lifetime. And believe me, I hope so hard that I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But, man, and I don't consider myself a cynical guy, but I do consider myself a realist. And that's one thing. I don't think we're ever going to see a change when it comes to guns in the United States. Anyway, sorry. It's a rough way to start a Monday, folks. If you do have confidence, please do leave a super chat. Please convince me I'm wrong. I'm begging you. I'm not saying this because I want to be right about it. I want to be I want to be wrong about this so freaking bad. You have no idea. If I am wrong and we actually pass reasonable policy, I will be so freaking happy. And you could duck on me every day if you want to. You'd be like, Ron, you were wrong about that. I'll be like, yep, sure was. Boy, am I happy to be proven wrong on that one. So, rough way to start out a Monday, really. And it's very tragic. These three young people, their lives were just getting started. I mean, with every passing year of just like, oh man, 20. Oh, there was a time in my life where I thought somebody who was 20, man, that person had it figured out. They've lived. 20? You kidding me? Now I'm like, 20. You're just getting started. Oh my God. Oh man. 20. I wouldn't want to be 20 right now, though. I really wouldn't be. It's tragic. It is absolutely heartbreaking. We're going to go ahead and move on to, let's go over to Joe Biden. So, Colin, pull up the article about what happened in the midterm. So we just had the midterm election, and some people were surprised about what happened. The Democrats did keep control of the Senate, and it looks like the Democrats are going to lose control of the House. The way projections are going, Democrats are likely to lose control of the House. And so here we go. This is from CBS News. What's left to count on the House? Can Democrats hold the majority? House Republicans, they're in a position to reach the 218 seats they need to flip the chamber. As of Monday morning, CBS News estimates Republicans will win at least 214 seats, while the Democrats are estimated to win at least 210. So basically, in short, it's likely at this point that Republicans are going to take over the House. Now, before the midterms, here's what Joe Biden was saying when it comes to abortion. This is what Joe Biden was saying. Can we pull up that article from October, Colin? This is what he was saying before the midterms. And then we're going to go to what he's saying now. Biden vows abortion legislation is top priority next year. President Joe Biden promised Tuesday the first bill he sends to Capitol Hill next year will be one that writes abortion protections into law if Democrats control enough seats in Congress to pass it. Now, there is that disclaimer there. We're going to get more of that in a second. As he sought to energize his party's voters just 3 weeks ahead of the November midterms. Okay, so let's go to what he's saying now. Colin, pull up that headline, and then we're going to watch the video itself. This is what Biden said recently, and this headline is everywhere, and we're going to watch the video that that goes alongside the headline. Biden says Democrats will not be able to pass abortion rights legislation. So he's basically giving up before there's even a fight to be had. Let's go back to that article for a brief moment, please, Colin. President Joe Biden said Monday that he did not expect Democrats to have enough votes in Congress to be able to pass legislation codifying Roe v. Wade. Now, he was asked this at a press conference in Bali, Indonesia. So let's go to the video itself. We went ahead and edited out this video for you. Colin, please go ahead and pull up that video if you would. Shout out again to Colin on the ones and twos. And by the way, folks, smash that like button. Don't just tell that like button, look, you don't like me. I know when I like, and I am liking this. Smash that like button, folks. Smash it.
What should Americans expect from Congress as it relates to abortion rights after the midterms?
I don't think they can expect much of anything other than we're going to maintain our positions. I'm not going to get into more questions. I shouldn't even answer your question.
Mr. President,
No, I don't think
question from an Indonesian.
I don't think there's enough votes to codify unless something happens unusual in the House. I think we're going to get very close in the House, but I think it's going to be very close, but I don't think we're going to do it.
So, look, here's the thing. I mean, first of all, I like how he's like, I shouldn't have answered that question. I gave a direct answer to a question. As a president, I shouldn't do that. I've learned my lesson. We're not supposed to answer. I should have given some platitudes about how Americans are resilient or something. Instead, I actually answered. I was like, yeah, no, we're probably not going to do anything. Here's the deal, folks. Everybody was told to go vote. They were told that abortion rights are why you need to go vote. And the Democrats were likely to get slaughtered. But largely because of the abortion issue, as we talked about on our election night streams, it went a lot differently than a lot of people projected. And yeah, there were some losses, but Democrats lost a lot less than people projected. And by the way, everybody in the corporate media was celebrating that. They're like, hey, they didn't lose as much as we thought. And Democrats still have the Senate. So here's the deal. And I know, that there's never a shortage of excuses for Democratic failures and Biden failures. Well, they don't have the House. Okay, here's the deal. We were told by Joe Biden himself that he was good at reaching across the aisle. He was good at getting Republicans on board with things. He was good at working with Republicans. That's what we were told. That was why, you're just naive if you want Bernie Sanders to be president. He's just so far left, he couldn't possibly get anything done. We need Joe Biden. He can reach across the aisle. Do you remember getting that drilled into your skull constantly? Well, here's a frickin' moment, President Biden, and you can't get any Republicans on board for abortion rights. You can't get any of these so-called reasonable Republicans to say, hey, this is a governmental overreach. They're all about government out of people's lives. I mean, it's so obvious how this is hypocrisy 101, where it's like, oh, yeah, we want the government out of your lives. Well, unless it's about a woman's right to choose. Then of course, the government can be in everyone's lives. So Mr. Reach Across the Aisle, he can't reach across, get any Republicans on board with this. Maybe they just meant Joe Biden's good at working with Republicans when it comes to passing horrible things. Maybe that's what they meant. And of course that's what they meant. I mean, it's just... And he's already just setting it up for, we're not gonna do anything. Nothing's gonna happen. He said in that clip, we're gonna maintain our positions. All that means, literally all that means, is that they're just gonna keep saying, yeah, we support it. It's too bad. Nothing can happen. And if you're a woman who needs abortion care in a state that doesn't have it, and you're poor, and you can't get somewhere that can help you, guess you're just out of luck. guess you're just out of luck. The Republicans don't care what happens to you, and the Democrats will just give you some thoughts and prayers. So I don't accept this. Oh, well, technically he doesn't have the House. No, that's ridiculous. He can't get anyone over. He can't use the bully pulpit to get anyone over for this legislation that clearly the country wants. The country has clearly spoken. And they said that Roe v. Wade is something that most Americans value. Clearly, the court of public opinion has spoken. Otherwise, it would have been a slaughter in the House, and they probably would have lost the Senate too. But because of the abortion issue, they kept the Senate, and it's neck and neck in the House. And yet still, they just can't possibly do anything. They can't possibly do anything. And let's keep in mind, the only reason it was as close as it was is because of ridiculous gerrymandered maps anyway. At the end of the day, regardless of what Wall Street sponsored team is ahead, at the end of the day, the court of public opinion constantly comes in last. It constantly comes in last. And that's the biggest takeaway from these midterm elections. Because, the average American, they're just kind of voting against a fascist theocracy. And that's what most people did. So they're saying like we have a country. Now, some people are saying that America, the United States, is a center-left country. I wouldn't go that far. I think that's being a bit too generous. I would say that the United States is a centrist country compared to most other similar pseudo-democratic experiments in the world. But if you want to say center-left, maybe. I don't know. I would say more centrist. But, if you want to say the United States as a whole is center or center-left, well, we're still being governed fringe right-wing. We have a fringe right-wing government constantly. We've had it for 40 plus years. And yet it doesn't at all reflect the people who live there. And you can see that Princeton study where public opinion, basically legislation, is the opposite of public opinion pretty much 100% of the time. And here's just another for instance. They were singing a certain tune before the midterms. After the midterms, they're not even going to let the dust settle and start fighting. Biden's already just saying, yeah, no, nothing's going to happen. Wow. What inspiring leadership. But the excuses won't stop. So let's go ahead and move on to some good power to the people news, because we do have some good power to the people news. We have a little bit of strike news, and we have a little bit of union news. Let's go over to the UC strike first. So I did a short video on this earlier today, which, by the way, that was my first short video for Status Coup. I hope you guys liked it. If you didn't check it out yet, please do check it out. And let me know what you think. Leave a comment, leave a thought. Please be gentle. It was my first short video for Status Coup, And for those of you who know me, you know that I'm most at home when I'm talking into the phone on a beach. But I wasn't on a beach. I was out of my element. I was doing a short. It was just me and Colin doing the little pre-record magic. It's a little different. New animal. So anyway, let me know what you think. But yeah, let's pull up that article about the UC strike, Colin, from the Washington Post. Thousands of University of California teaching assistants, academic workers, they're going on strike in the largest work stoppage of the year. Thousands of academic workers at the University of California system went on strike today over the university system's bargaining practices with their union, which is trying to secure higher wages. Some 48,000 teaching assistants, postdocs, researchers, and graders on the front line of teaching and research at California's prestigious public university system are seeking an annual minimum salary of $54,000 a year and increased child care benefits, saying they do not earn enough to live in the state. So let's pull up the tweet that kind of talks about what got us to this point and what kind of led to the strike. This is a tweet from the organizers over at UC. So this is from a little bit earlier. This is from November 2nd. Breaking 36,558 total votes were cast in UC academic worker strike authorization votes, with 98% voting yes to authorize a multi-unit strike if necessary. Man, what is going through the head of that 2%? Aren't you curious? What's up? Someone's got to find someone in I'm curious. Like 98% of people are like, yeah, this is ridiculous. And then 2% are like, nah, we're fine. I mean, don't you wonder what? So they voted 98% to 2%. Their requests were not met, so they are on strike now. This is technically the biggest strike of 2022. So this is huge. And like I mentioned in the short video, I'll mention it again. They've also been reporting that things are going to be disrupted at the university. Classes are being canceled. Tests aren't going to be graded. Papers aren't going to be graded. What does that tell you? It tells you that the labor of these graduate student workers, of these postdocs, of these researchers, their labor is part of the department. The department relies on their labor, yet they don't think that the people who generate this labor deserve to be paid a living wage, even though the university needs it. And that is what is completely backwards. And here, they're doing this at an institution of higher learning. They literally teach Karl Marx here, folks. They teach Karl Marx, and yet they're saying, oh, the people whose labor we rely on to function, they don't need a living wage. Boy, chef's kiss level hypocrisy. So I hope these workers get everything they deserve and more. And we talked about this, I believe it was last week on the show. Tina Desiree Berg and myself, we both have former lives as academics. We both narrowly escaped. No, I got out after my master's, and it wasn't for me. But we can both tell you, the departments, they count on graduate students. They count on graduate students to assist with research, to assist with teaching, to assist with grading. When I was an undergrad, I went to a big school. I went to Indiana University. Half of my teachers my freshman year and even my sophomore were all graduate students. That's how it works at a lot of universities in this country. And what you get is generally speaking, you get an assistantship, which means that, first of all, you get free tuition. You get to go and earn your graduate degree, your master's or your PhD or both, free of charge, at least no tuition. There's other random fees and stuff, but no tuition. And then you assist with the department. You help out the department. You might teach, you might do research, you might do a little bit of both. And in exchange for that, you get a living stipend. Here's the thing, though. It's not actually a living stipend. You can't frickin' live on it. It should be enough to live on. That's all these people are asking for, and that's not too much to ask. That is not too much to ask. If your labor relies on, the university needs your labor, you should get a living wage. That's all there is to it. It's not like these people are asking for the pensions that tenured faculty get. It's like they're students too. We get it. They're just asking for a living wage. And not a surviving wage, by the way. There's a difference between a surviving wage, where it's just like, well, if you don't buy too many groceries, you'll be able to keep your head above water each month. No. A living wage, meaning you can live on it and you can do your job that the university needs. So shout out to them, and I hope they get everything they want. We will keep track of this as it continues to unfold. And maybe we'll even be able to get on the ground, get some stuff on the ground. We'll see what happens. We'll see, where it spreads and stuff like that. It is breaking. It is just starting today. So, shout out to the UC strikers. You really do love to see it, because honestly, folks, this is our main tool to fight back. The main tool we have to fight back is withholding our labor. They already gave us the clues. They told us essential workers. That means we're essential. So let's go over to another strike. Now we started, a union effort, actually. We started in academia. Now we're going to go over to the arts. Have you ever been to a medieval times restaurant? Ironically enough, I never have. And I say ironically enough because some of you may know that I have a historical interpretation of Lucian the Satirist that I premiered at the Kearney Renaissance Festival this past weekend up in Fresno. It was a freaking blast. I had so much fun. And if anybody out there watching came out, thank you so much for doing so. But I've actually never been to a Medieval Times. I've never been to one of those. I hear they are fun. I don't know all that much. Well, I don't know anything about it firsthand because I've never been to one. But what I do know is that they're not treating their employees right. Colin, can we go to that More Perfect Union video for the Medieval Times union effort in California?
Welcome, my friends, to Medieval Times, a magical place where you're transported back to the days of knights on horseback jousting.
The castle of Her Majesty, the Queen, here in rural New Jersey.
See my wonderful horses, my lovely falcon, and my brave and noble knight.
As much fun as it is living in the medieval times for a small period of your day. It's not as fun living in the medieval times 365 days a year when it's your job to do it.
In real life, they don't treat their employees so well. So Medieval Times it's like dinner theaters, stepping back in time to the 1100s and going to a noble medieval pageant, just with Pepsi and air conditioning and, modern stuff thrown in as well.
Where are we going? Only the finest restaurant in town.
When Phantom of the Opera closes, we will then be the longest running professional theatrical production in the New York City area. 30 years, nothing even close to that, in a theater of that size.
By all accounts, this is a professional show. So it is odd that your performers who are putting on this show are being paid essentially like entry-level workers. Yeah, it is ironic that we play nobility, queens, lords, ladies, and our audience doesn't realize how we go home in a broken car to an apartment with 5 other roommates, hoping you have enough money for food on the table. And it's not to say we expect to be treated like queens, but I expect to be treated like a human being. When we got back from COVID, everything was a lot harder. People who are already struggling are now putting all of their time and effort into this castle, and yet we're still scraping by. And it just felt like something needed to change.
So, as they hinted in that video, this is not the first union effort at a Medieval Times restaurant. The first effort happened in New Jersey back in June. Colin, could we pull that article up, please? So this is the first union effort that they had, and it started in New Jersey. And now there's one here in California, where I live. The Knights of Medieval Times will carry union cards with their lances. Ooh, that's a fun little catchy headline, huh? The horsemen, couriers, stable hands, and other performers at Ye Old New Jersey tourist attraction formed a new kind of medieval guild when they voted to unionize. This is from the New York Times. Go ahead and scroll down. So this is from back in June in 11th century Spain, blah, blah, blah. But at Medieval Times, just off Route 3, dealing with that kind of behavior has been accepted as part of the job for too long. So they decided to unionize. And now California is starting to unionize, because the thing that happens here, folks, is that unions are contagious. The New Jersey vote was 26-11. The vote here was, I believe it was 27-18 or something like that. It was in the 20s, and it was it was a yes vote for the effort here in California. And they're unionizing because they're not getting treated well. There's been reports in New Jersey and in California of patrons not being respectful to the performers and management not doing anything about it, which, that frustrates me on a whole other level. Like why would you go to a place like that and want to be a jerk? Like why would you do that? Like why would you mess with the people who are doing their job? You're going to medieval times knowing what it is. It's not like you were at some random restaurant and all of a sudden somebody showed up and started jousting in front of you. If that happened, then I could see how you'd be like, hey, what is this? Could you not do that? That's a little, this isn't, I'm not on board with this. But you're going to medieval times. You know what you're getting into. And you're going to heckle somebody. You're going to hassle them. And then they're not even getting paid a decent wage to put up with your nonsense. And nobody has their back if you decide to give them nonsense. As a comedian, that frustrates me to no end. I can tell you that. That frustrates me to no end. And, it's interesting, the two stories we have today that deal with both education and the arts, because you could tell a lot about a society. You can tell a lot about a society, how it treats all labor, but you can really tell a lot about a society on how it treats education and how it treats the arts. And in the contemporary United States, there is an absolute disdain for both. That's one of the early signs of fascism, by the way. That's like one of the prominent early signs of fascism, having an absolute disdain for the arts and having an absolute disdain for education. We got both here in the U.S. And it doesn't stop there. We also have a disdain for the people who make our coffee, for the people who produce the goods that we consume, for the people who make cereal, for the people who are our nurses and our doctors. And there are just people being exploited at every level, and it's coming to a head. People can't take it anymore. Do you know somebody in education? I'm sure we all do. Do you talk to your teacher friends? Are you a teacher yourself? I mean, I have a lot of teacher friends at various levels. They're all miserable. They're all trying to get out of it. They're trying to get out of the field, which is heartbreaking to see. But they can't take it anymore because we have a system that ruins education. Our education system ruins education. And then you have these people, they're maintaining one of the largest theater shows that's been going on for years and years. Without them, medieval times isn't medieval times. Without the performers, it's just a kind of a weird setup for a restaurant, and you can get, I'm guessing, like a turkey leg or something. That's it. And again, I've never been to a medieval times before, but I don't know if people are necessarily going there for the food. I mean, maybe the food's great. I don't know. All I'm saying is people are going there for the experience. The experience is the main part. So, I'm just saying, I've never heard anyone be like, my favorite. I mean, that's why there was that Jim Carrey thing, which I don't know what movies that's from either. I'm curious. Does anyone know what movies that's from? When does Jim Carrey call medieval times the greatest restaurant ever? Let me know. I'm curious. Was that Cable Guy? Was that? I should know this, but I don't. Colin, do you know? Do you know what movie? I don't want to put you on the spot, but you are on the ones and twos.
I don't know, but I can look it up.
No, I don't know if it's that important, but if you wanna, I know it's not the movie.
It was in the Cable Guy, yeah.
It was in Cable Guy. Oh man, I got it back. All right, or I got it. All right, interesting. Appreciate it. All right, so there you go. And the thing is when you see stories like this of people striking, of people forming unions, of people trying to take their workplace back, or just trying to claim their workplace and claim their dignity, this is all of the seeds of a better tomorrow. A better tomorrow where you have a strong working class, which we haven't had in the United States since the 60s, really. And people my age, someone who is a millennial, my generation is just old enough to see the remnants of what was left of a strong middle class in the United States. And we thought that was going to be waiting for us, and it wasn't. And it wasn't waiting for the Gen Xers either. we saw what just remained of it. And now the middle class is completely gone. There is no middle class in the United States. There is the working poor and there is the wealthy, and that's it. And those disparities are getting wider and wider and wider by the day. And if people don't step up, and by the way, the powers that be, they're not going to help us. They're not going to help us. I mean, we're about to have one freaking grocery store in this country, for crying out loud. They don't have our backs. And so we have to. And again, I'm not discouraging voting. I'm not discouraging participating in that way. I voted. I encourage it, actually. I do encourage you to vote. It is one of the tools in the toolkit of change, but it is not the only tool in the toolkit of change. There's a lot of other ones, and I would dare say that they're even bigger ones. And those are strikes, protests, mutual aid, community gardens. So folks, smash that like button. Smash it. Smash it. I'm by myself today. Tina's like, no, I'm not. No, Tina's not feeling well. She's sick. She might have been out covering something this weekend. I'm not sure. I didn't get to talk to her. But Tina is under the weather. So it's just me flying solo, doing a solo show. So smash that like button. And if you're able, help support independent journalism on the ground. Go to statuscoup.com/join and know that when you're signing up for Status Coup, you are supporting on the ground journalism. You're making it possible for Status Lou to cover stuff across the heartland, for Jordan to go to Flint, for Tina to cover stuff in California. You're making it possible for on the ground journalism to happen all over the country, which, by the way, is what indie media is supposed to do. Outlets like this exist to tell you the stories that corporate media is not going to bother covering, and to go to these places. And that costs a lot of resources, and it costs money. So your support is very, very much appreciated. So statuscoup.com/join. Now, we got one more for you today, and this is kind of, dare I say, a fun one. So Jeff Bezos, good old Jeff Bezos, he runs Amazon, and he launched his penis-shaped rocket into space for like 4 seconds, and he's pretty much the richest person out there. I mean, I think him and Elon, they're kind of neck and neck, and it depends. I think right now Jeff's probably ahead because Elon lost how many billions on Twitter, which boy, that's a doozy. We've been covering that enough. We're not covering that today, but we'll be covering it as more updates happen. But Jeff Bezos, he recently made the announcement that he's going to be giving away a lot of his money to charity someday. No one knows when, but he's like, all these billions I have, I'm going to give most of it away. Trust me, I'm going to do this. Let's pull up that headline first, if you would, please, Colin, and give it up one more time for Colin on the ones and twos. Jeff Bezos plans to give away his wealth to charity. So first of all, he gave $100 million to Dolly Parton, which, that's cool. I think Dolly Parton is a decent human being. I think she's a good person. She's done a lot of kind of cool things. So he gave $100 million to her. So Jeff Bezos, long criticized for being stingy with his $124 billion fortune, said in an interview he plans to give most of it away to charity during his lifetime. So first of all, now we're going to get into why this was a little bit of convenient timing on his part. But go back to the article, please, Colin. But it's interesting when you look at the history of this stuff. So the whole idea of a very, very wealthy person giving a bunch of stuff away, of course, isn't anything new. That's why a lot of the museums and libraries and stuff like that across the country are named after very terrible people, because right before they died, they gave a bunch of money away to make something like that. Now, why did they do something like that? Was it because, they just had a change of heart? No, it's because back in the day, and you can read, what's that book called? I think it's called See You in Hell. It's about frickin' Carnegie. Yeah, something like See You in Hell, something like that. If you just Google it, you'll find that book. But it's because back in the day, really, really wealthy people were scared that when they died, they were going to go to hell. Because, there's that passage in the Bible, through an eye of a needle, a rich man can't pass, or whatever. So they weren't sure if that was literal or not, but they didn't really want to take the chance, and they couldn't take their wealth with them. So they were like, I better give it all away so that I could go up to heaven. because I bet in heaven there's a lot of poor people for me to exploit. So that was what they did. So this is almost like the new generation of such a thing. But let's read on. Let's continue what Jeff Bezos, the ever so charitable Jeff Bezos, plans to do. So the Amazon founder, currently the fourth wealthiest person in the world. Okay, so he's not at the very top right now. He's been criticized for not participating in the billionaire's giving pledge and instead spending it on expensive toys, including a massive yacht and a multi-story luxury pad in New York City. Oh, and a spaceship, folks. They mentioned that here. Bezos also has poured billions into his rocket company, Blue Origin. That's the most unoriginal frickin' name, by the way. Anyway, but in an interview this weekend, he and his gal pal, Lauren Sanchez, this is the pros of the New York Post, by the way, folks. They said to CNN he plans to donate most of his billions to fight climate change and address political and social divisiveness in the world. That's his other very, very big cause. He's going to address political and social divisiveness. Yeah. Oh, I love it when they do that. I love it when they're just like, everyone should just be a little more polite on Twitter. Instead of looking at the circumstances that have caused people to reach their breaking point. It's like, well, maybe people are tired of being exploited. Maybe it's like you've pushed them to their breaking point. Like, well, but they should tweet nicer. They really should tweet a little more polite. If everybody just tweeted more polite, then hunger would go away. That's interesting. All right, so let's go back to the article real quick, see if there's anything left here. Still, Bezos. Oh, yeah. So here's the thing. Bezos admitted that he doesn't yet have a plan to unload his wealth and that he'll take his time about doing so. Scroll down. We see his explanation as to why it's taking time. So he said that it's not easy. Here, wait, stop there. It's not easy, Bezos said. This is why he doesn't really have a plan to give away his billions of dollars. It's not easy, Bezos said. Building Amazon was not easy. It took a lot of hard work and a ton of money from your parents' rich friends, Jeff. A bunch of very smart teammates who you probably didn't compensate fairly. Hardworking teammates. And also hardworking laborers, Jeff, who you exploit every day. And I'm finding, and I think Lauren is finding the same thing, that charity, philanthropy, is very similar. So he's saying he's not sure. He's got to get his ducks in the row, make sure he uses this efficiently. By the way, Jeff Bezos, one step up. You could just give all of it to Dolly Parton. That would be better than you having it. She's also very wealthy, sure, but she's not a sociopath. So it's like, well, here's a wealthy person who's actually done some good, and I think it's fair to say Dolly Parton, not a sociopath. I don't know every single thing about her, but, I watched the documentary. She seems like a decent human overall. I'd say compared to him, not a sociopath. I think that's fair. You'd be better off just giving everything to her, Jeff, if you're not sure what to do. But apparently, he's just not sure it's going to take time and effort. It's going to take time and effort, folks. And in the meantime, he better make more penis rockets. That's just, what else is he going to do? He's just a poor guy, unsure what to do with these billions and billions of dollars. So, dare I say, there's something else going on. Maybe this is just convenient timing for something else that he wants to get ahead of. Colin, could you pull up the headline about some layoffs that are going to be coming up? Please, sir. Amazon is said to plan to lay off approximately 10,000 employees. Oh! Gee, now you have the real story. Awesome. That's from the New York Times. So Amazon is planning to lay off approximately 10,000 employees, which, by the way, Colin, do you have that tweet that I sent you about this? Amazon's not the only place laying people off. So Amazon is laying off 10,000 employees, which, by the way, that's why Jeff Bezos said this in an interview to CNN. That's the only reason. He's hoping that this headline shines brighter than the other headline that he's laying off 10,000 people while still making record profits. Jeff Bezos making record profits, but he still has to lay off 10,000 people. But Amazon's not the only place. So here's a current list from the Kobayashi letter. Current list of mass layoffs. Amazon laying off 10,000. Twitter, 50% of the workforce. Snapchat, 20% of the workforce. Meta, Big Tech gets everything they want. They're still doing this. Meta, 13% of the workforce. Credit Suisse, 5% of workforce. Apple is in a hiring freeze. And Disney, even though they just got to merge recently, they're in a hiring freeze too. Unemployment is set to skyrocket. Yet these people get all the breaks, big tech getting all the breaks, all these companies getting all the breaks, and they're still just cutting people left and right. And speaking of big tech, guess what? Big tech still kind of came out big in this election, unfortunately. Now, over in the net neutrality front, I was going to give an update on that, and I'm going to. So the big thing, will Gigi Sohn be confirmed by the FCC? Here's the problem. Democrats do have the Senate, but you think, well, you're out of excuses. You got to push through the FCC candidate to give us a pro-net neutrality FCC. Here's the deal, though. Who was the big holdout? Joe Manchin. Who's still hanging out? Joe frickin' Manchin. So there's a good point. There's a good chance they're still going to try to drag their feet on this. Now, the other pro-net neutrality FCC, they should be re-up candidate. They should be re-upped with no problem, the current commissioner. So at least it will stay in a 2-2 gridlock. Now, if Republicans took over the Senate, it could have gone to a 2-1 Republican majority, which, to the best of my knowledge, might be the first time ever that you had an FCC that didn't reflect the White House. But, nobody's doing anything about it. So please go to battleforthenet.com, and demand that they approve Gigi Sohn immediately to give us a pro-net neutrality FCC. Because guess what, folks? A free and open internet and antitrust, that's how we start fighting back against big tech. So we got to get net neutrality back. We got to get movement on the antitrust bills. So we got to fight back. So that's what's happening with Jeff Bezos. Before I get to the super chats, I'll let you guys know, which, by the way, leave a super chat. I will get to yours. I got some tour dates coming up. January 28th, I will be in Tucson, Arizona. Now, that show is a stand-up show and a screening of my short film, Loner. And there's an early bird special going on. If you go to buy tickets to the Tucson show, use the promo code Lucy at checkout. You get a discount on tickets. Makes an awesome holiday gift, folks. RonPlacone.com for that. February 10th, I'll be in Los Angeles. It's the first of a 3-show residency I'm doing to workshop my festival hour. So February 10th, Los Angeles. The other shows there are April 14th and May 12th. That's all at the Glendale Room in the Glendale neighborhood in Los Angeles. Tickets available at RonPlacone.com. And February 17th and 18th, I will be in San Diego, California. I'll be announcing more dates shortly. Go to RonPlacone.com for all tickets. And of course, you can follow me on the socials at RonPlacone on Instagram, Twitter, and I'm on Mastodon too. And of course, my channel, youtube.com/RonPlacone. So let me get to your super chats here, folks. Venetia David, what is up? Hope all is well in the UK, and I can't wait to see you in 2023. Ready to get my news on with Ron and Status Coup, and congratulations to Jordan. Yes, absolutely. Congrats to Jordan. Really cool to see. And everybody is happy and healthy and well. Double K, member for 6 months. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your very generous super chat contribution. Big Colin fan. Me too. Me too. Colin holding it down on the ones and twos. We got Peace Robert Walker. If the Dems don't codify Roe and or pass other things that people need, 2024 will be a red tsunami and we'll lose all of our rights. Mark my words. Yeah, I think there's a fair chance that that's going to happen. I mean, the people spoke and the people said that yeah, they want Roe codified. And, I just don't accept that it's like he can't. Yeah, well, anyway, we did a segment about it. So I'm with you. Nikki O'Brien, what's up? Good to see you on Status Coup, Ron. Thank you very much for that, Nikki. Good to see you as well. Congrats to Jordan and to Lily's mom. Solidarity with the strikers. I am with you. Absolutely. Solidarity with the strikers. Folks, smash that like button. Thank you so much for your super chat contributions. You help keep the show on the air. Thank you, Venetia. Thank you, Double K. Thank you, Robert Walker. Thank you, Nikki O'Brien. We got a few more here. John Ramsey. What's up, John? Thank you very much for your super chat contribution. I hope you are well. I hope you're having a fantastic Monday. And Des Beaux Fleisch. I probably, how'd I do on that pronunciation? I think you're German, yeah? Des Beaux Fleisch. I don't think I did good. I'm trying. I man, I don't speak Dankeschön. That's all I know. Oh, and Prost. I know that. That's all. I think that's thank you and cheers. That's all I got. But I think, last time I was in Germany, I had a really freaking fun time and drank a lot of beer, and that was kind of all I needed, Thank you and cheers was all I freaking needed. That, and I mean, everyone spoke English anyway, so, but I would like to learn a little. I would like to at least be able to pronounce your name properly. Anyway, I should get to your comment. Any hopes DeSantis might implode on national stage when there's more scrutiny and weird character traits emerge? ? P.S. Your hairstyle is electric. Thank you for that, Miss Bush. I appreciate that. I don't know. I mean, I like I've said before, I consider Ron DeSantis the most dangerous person in American politics, and I don't say that lightly. I think that Ron DeSantis, I mean, even when people say things like, well, he's just kind of boring and he's just kind of, yeah, and he passes this horrific legislation and people are downplaying what it really does. And it's because he does it with just a matter of fact, he doesn't have the kind of brutal approach that Trump does, but he is just as dangerous policy-wise. There's nothing separating his policies from Trump. And in fact, I think you could even argue there's a chance that DeSantis would be even worse because DeSantis is a straight up fascist theocrat. I think Trump's just a narcissistic goofball. So, I mean, and he kind of puts a little like palatable face on it. Ron DeSantis does. So, and I think that guy is very, very competent, Ron DeSantis. So I don't know. I mean, I actually don't have much hope on that. I think that Ron DeSantis, again, he is the most dangerous person in American politics. I think if he were to ever get into the White House, it would be absolutely horrifying what could potentially happen in this country. And I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. I think Ron DeSantis has what it takes to be I think Ron DeSantis has what it takes to be more dangerous than George W. Bush was. And, for those of you who are wondering, we are still feeling the effects of the Bush administration. The Bush administration completely brought this country to its knees. The Bush administration decimated this country. All of the ills we are feeling can be traced back to the Bush administration contemporarily. They set the new American century war machine. They set it up. They had the axis of evil. They put it all into motion. And Obama just kept it on autopilot. That's, that was what Obama did. So the wars expanded. The drones expanded. That was Bush set it into motion. Obama didn't do anything to stop it. Trump kept it on autopilot too, even though he said he wasn't going to. And now we got Biden doing the same thing. The Clean Air and Water Act that set us back who knows how much on climate change and has set the tone for the types of climate change policy and approaches we see now. That was Dick Cheney's creation. So, yeah, I mean, the most horrific administration in most of our lifetimes was by far George W. Bush. I think DeSantis could pass it up. And I don't know if we'd still have a country, to be honest with you. Really, like that guy, wow. So,
Oh, looks like Ron disconnected, so he's about to end there. But thanks you guys for joining. Let me click his thing here. Like he said, make sure to go to ronplacone.com and check out his shows there. And, oh, you're back.
What happened there? Did I just go?
I don't know.
Did I just hiccup for a minute?
It looks like you completely went away.
How long was I out?
Oh, just for 2 seconds.
Okay, all right. So it was just when I felt like, well, did D Nord was where I was going to next. What's up, D Nord? Thank you very much for the super chat contribution, D Nord. The big tech overlords did not want me to read your super chat. but I told the big tech overlords to cut it out Hillary Clinton style, and they let me get to your super chat. So thank you very much, D Nord. Thank you for your super chat. It is very, very much appreciated. So let me go through the thank yous again. Thank you, Venetia David. Thank you, Double K. Thank you, Peace Robert Walker. Thank you, Nikki O'Brien. Thank you, John Ramsey. Thank you, Des Bush Flesh. And thank you, D Nord. You guys help keep this show on the air. If you are able, statuscoup.com/join. And if you want to check me out on the road, RonPlacone.com for all those tickets. Again, that's Tucson, Los Angeles, San Diego, and Tucson. Use the promo code Lucy at checkout. Guys, this has been Status Coup. Thank you so much for being here. I will be back tomorrow, and then Wednesday will be Kim, and then Thursday should be me and Tina if Tina's feeling better, although she's under the weather. But I'll be here Thursday. Jordan, congratulations to Jordan and new member of their family, Lily. Jordan's going to be taking some time being a dad, working on his book. So you'll be seeing more of me, more of Tina, more of Kim, more of Steve, more of Status Lou on the ground, Colin on the ones and twos. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.